Coins are among the quietest witnesses of history. They pass through millions of hands, hear no applause, and yet absorb the pulse of everyday life. In the Philippines, one such coin emerged during a period of national rebuilding and reform. A coin that felt heavier in the palm, sounded sharper when dropped, and looked different from anything that came before it. The Philippine 1 Piso Bimetallic coin of the 1990s, issued under the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas Coin Series and bearing the portrait of Dr. José Rizal, was not just currency. It was a message pressed into metal, a symbol of identity, stability, and progress circulating quietly through daily life. To understand why this coin mattered, one must first understand the Philippines. At the dawn of the 1990s, the country was stepping out of a turbulent chapter marked by political upheaval, economic uncertainty, and institutional reform. Inflation had eroded confidence in money, and the public needed reassurance that the peso was strong, reliable, and future-ready. In 1993, the creation of the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas marked a decisive turning point. The BSP replaced the old Central Bank of the Philippines, bringing with it a new mandate focused on price stability, financial credibility, and modernization. Currency reform became one of its most visible and symbolic responsibilities. Because money is the one government instrument every citizen touches, coins, more than banknotes, live closest to the people. They ride in pockets, roll across jeepney floors, clink on sari-sari store counters, and rest in the hands of children receiving their daily allowance. When the BSP set out to redesign Philippine coinage, it knew that these small objects needed to communicate trust and permanence. The result was a new coin series that introduced improved materials, cleaner designs, and for the first time in Philippine circulation, a bimetallic coin for a major denomination. The decision to make the 1 Piso coin bimetallic was both practical and symbolic. Across the world, bimetallic coins had become a standard for higher denominations because they were harder to counterfeit, more durable, and instantly recognizable. For the Philippines, adopting this technology was a declaration that the peso belonged in the modern global economy. The two-metal structure, consisting of a brass outer ring and a nickel brass inner core, gave the coin a distinct two-tone appearance that stood out immediately. It also added weight, making the coin feel substantial and valuable in a way earlier coins often did not. But a coin's metal is only part of its story. The heart of the 1 Piso coin lay in its portrait. At its center appeared Dr. José Rizal, the national hero whose influence shaped the Filipino consciousness more than any battlefield victory ever could. Rizal was not chosen merely because he was revered. He was chosen because he represented ideals that aligned perfectly with the BSP's vision of reform and enlightenment. A writer, physician, and intellectual, Rizal believed that true freedom came from education, moral courage, and awareness. His execution by Spanish colonial authorities in 1896 transformed him into a martyr whose ideas ignited a revolution. Placing Rizal on the most widely used coin in the country carried profound meaning. This was not a commemorative issue locked away in albums. This was everyday money. Every time a Filipino paid a fare, bought food, or counted change, Rizal's face appeared as a quiet reminder of national identity and shared history. The message was subtle but powerful. Progress does not erase the past. It honors it. The design of the coin reflected this balance between tradition and modernity. Rizal's portrait was rendered with clarity and dignity. Facing to the right, his expression calm and contemplative. His name appeared beneath the portrait, ensuring that even younger generations unfamiliar with textbook portraits could associate the face with the name. The surrounding ring framed the image, creating a visual unity between the two metals, almost suggesting the idea of a nation, strengthened by diverse elements working together. On the reverse side, the seal of the Bangko Sentral in Pilipinas took center stage. This was an important departure from earlier designs, as it emphasized institutional authority and monetary responsibility. The denomination 1 Piso was clearly marked, along with the year of minting, using modern, clean typography. The overall look was confident and purposeful, free from excessive ornamentation. signaling a forward-looking philosophy. When the coin entered circulation in the mid-1990s, it was immediately noticed. People commented on its weight, its color, and even the sound it made when dropped onto a hard surface. Compared to older coins, it felt more serious, more official. For many Filipinos, this sensory experience subtly reinforced the idea that the peso itself had gained strength. Vendors trusted it, commuters relied on it, and children admired it, often setting aside shiny examples simply because they look special. The 1 peso bimetallic coin quickly became woven into the fabric of everyday life. It paid for jeepney rides, snacks after school, and small household needs. It accumulated scratches and dents, each mark a trace of countless transactions. The very durability that made it practical also meant that it stayed in circulation for years, enduring constant handling without losing its basic structure. Over time, however, heavy use softened details and dulled surfaces, making sharply preserved examples increasingly uncommon. This contrast between high mintage and scarce condition would later attract collectors. Initially, no one viewed the coin as collectible. It was too familiar, too ordinary. But as years passed and newer coin designs replaced it, nostalgia set in. People began to notice how different it felt compared to later issues that were lighter or simpler in design. Collectors started searching for uncirculated pieces, appreciating the craftsmanship and symbolism that once went unnoticed. Beyond collectability, the coin carried deeper symbolism. The two metals were often interpreted as representing unity and resilience, a nation forged from different histories and influences. Rizal's presence reinforced the idea that intellectual courage and moral clarity were foundational to Filipino identity. The BSP seal symbolized trust in institutions, a promise that the lessons of past economic instability had been learned. As Philippine coinage continued to evolve, the 1990s 1 peso bimetallic coin retained a special place in public memory. Even when newer designs appeared, many Filipinos still associated the real peso with the distinctive two-tone coin of their youth. It had become an emotional reference point, tied to memories of everyday life during a period of national rebuilding. In today's numismatic market, the coin occupies an interesting position. Heavily circulated examples remain common, often valued close to face value. Lightly circulated and uncirculated coins, however, command premiums, especially among Filipino collectors and members of the diaspora seeking tangible connections to home. Error coins, such as misaligned cores or off-center strikes, are particularly sought after. Yet for many, the true value of the coin lies not in its price but in its story. What makes the 1 peso bimetallic coin remarkable is how quietly it educated and unified. Without speeches or slogans, it placed a national hero into the rhythm of daily life. It reminded people, again and again, that the freedoms they enjoyed were shaped by ideas, sacrifice, and reform. It showed that modernization did not require abandoning identity, but rather strengthening it. In the end, the Philippine 1 peso bimetallic coin of the 1990s stands as more than a unit of currency. It is a symbol of a nation redefining itself, of trust rebuilt after uncertainty, and of history carried effortlessly in the palm of a hand. It proves that even the smallest objects can tell the largest stories, if we take the time to listen.